Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love, because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Life Audio.
This holiday season, I really feel led and want to encourage you all to consider giving, being a generous giver to not only your community and not only your loved ones, but those around the world that need our impact. Let's talk about it today. Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to this week's episode of the Bought and Beloved podcast. As always, it's your girl, Kirby Kelly, once again here on the mic. I'm so glad that you chose to tune into this week's episode. I actually have the amazing opportunity of being able to share my platform today with a ministry, with an organization, with a cause that I have actually been able to partner with in the past, with my university, with my church, and now this time on the podcast. I have Christy Graham joining me today. She hosts the On the Ground podcast, which is in partnership with Samaritan's Purse, and that's actually the sponsor of today's video. We're going to get into all of that as we talk throughout the podcast, especially at the very end. I have a really awesome opportunity that if you are wanting to give this holiday season and not just change someone's life, but even have an eternal impact for the kingdom in other people's lives, then you're going to want to stick around for the whole episode so that you can hear that special call to action that we have at the very end. But Christy, thank you for joining me on today's episode of the podcast. Can you just briefly introduce who you are, what you do, what you're passionate about, and maybe even a little bit about your own involvement with Samaritan's Purse?
Yes. Well, thank you, Kirby, for having me. Yes, I host On the Ground with Samaritan's Purse. My husband, Edward, and I, we moved here to Boone about 8 years ago almost. He is Franklin's son, and so he's been in the military for 16 years, and then the Lord called him to come to Samaritan's Purse. And so when we came, like you, we had done shoeboxes and different things with the ministry, but we've been away with the military. And so I started asking questions and, wanting to know more about what the Samaritan's Purse does. And so as I asked and found out more, that's when the desire for the podcast came to be. And so I get to be the host and I get to ask people, what they do around the world, because we are doing so many different projects, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but it's a joy and a privilege to do that. So I do that here at Samaritan's Purse. And then we have 4 kids from high school down to elementary school. And so I'm a mom, first, and then the Lord allows me to be a part of the ministry in various ways. So it's a joy and a privilege.
That's so awesome. Did you ever envision yourself being a part of Samaritan's Purse and working within the ministry? Or is it one of those things where it was like, God just made it happen and here we are? How did you end up getting involved with it?
Well, Edward, obviously being Franklin's son, we had seen various aspects of the ministry. After Hurricane Katrina, we got to come and help mud out houses. And so we'd seen aspects, but the military was and what we thought was our calling forever. We loved it. I loved being a military spouse. My dad was in the Army, and so I knew that's the world I understood. And so we thought when we got married, that's what we would do. But I love the way the Lord prepares and redirects your life. And so we very clearly had a call for the Lord, to get us out. And again, we love it. We had been a part of it in various small aspects, but being full-time is very exciting, and we love being here.
That's awesome.
No, it's not what we envisioned for our lives, but I love it. I love it when the Lord, his ways are not our ways, and I love it when he intersects our lives.
Well, and I'm sure even just with your military upbringing, and I'm assuming even just moving with that and everything, being able to then be a part of an organization that is so global, I'm sure that God has just been able to use so many parts of your story and your life and your upbringing, as well as your husband's, to be able to be a part of something that is so much bigger, not just a lasting impact in the lives of people right here, right now, today, but even eternally, right? But for those who are listening today who might not have any idea what Samaritan's Purse is, what they do, even the foundation of how it began, could you just enlighten the people who might not know a thing about it, who have never heard about Samaritan's Purse?
Sure. So my father-in-law, Franklin, he says we are an evangelical organization that happens to do humanitarian work. So we are known for our global humanitarian efforts, but we are, the reason we go is to share Jesus. I mean, in Jesus' name is what we do. And so we go, we respond to man-made disasters, natural disasters. We do Operation Christmas Child. We have so many different projects and vehicles to bring, but the reason we go is to bring the gospel. So everything we do is through the local church all around the world. We want to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, but again, we do it through so many different vehicles that we'll talk about in a minute. But many people know about Operation Christmas Child or our hospitals, our emergency hospitals that we set up around the world. So we do get to help people. It's based off the Good Samaritan. We go to the ditches of life, and we want to help people physically. But the reason we go is to share the hope of the gospel and to give that eternal gift that we all need.
That's
so
awesome.
It's exciting.
Have you been able to travel with Samaritan's Purse and go to some of these places, different countries, different communities, and be able to see like the on-the-grounds impact that Samaritan's Purse has had? Because for me, when growing up, like I only associated Samaritan's Purse with Operation Christmas Child, but even in preparing for this podcast and the more and more that I've like learned about what y'all have been doing, like you said, with all the humanitarian impact, I'm like, y'all are literally everywhere doing everything. So like, have you been able to be on the ground and be a part of any of that?
I have. And that's why, I had the vision for the podcast is because so many people just know one aspect. And I wanted to, open people's eyes and allow them to see, because I had the privilege of getting to see it on the ground for myself. And it does blow your mind when you know how many different things we do. So yes, I've been able to go to many different countries and see many of these projects in action. And it changes me every time I go. I think I know something, and then you go and you learn more. And again, you meet our partners and our national, partners in the countries that they're serving in. And it just changes me dramatically. So just when I think I know everything, I learn more, and it's really exciting.
That's awesome. Has there been like an experience or a story that you've either like been a part of or that you've heard that's like, wow, I actually got to see not only this change in this person's life like before my eyes, but even like an eternal impact? Because I know like we've been talking about the gospel is one of the main goals, as much as it is meeting the real needs of real people. I mean, that's literally what the Good Samaritan did. He met the needs of the person who was right in front of him. And that's what opens the door for so many people relationally, meeting the needs, to then realize like, wait, there's actually a God who loves me. And these people are doing these things because of this God who loves me. Like, has there been a really cool story in the life of someone that you've either been able to impact directly or just within the ministry that you've heard about that you're like, wow, like Samaritan's Purse really did that for this person or this family? Oh, definitely.
There's so many that come to mind, but I think for me, I've gotten to go to many Operation Christmas Child distributions, but after the distribution, they get to do a discipleship program, a 12-week program called The Greatest Journey. Yeah. And so that's why we work with the local church, so that these churches can disciple and, they don't just hear the gospel one day. It's ongoing. And we've gotten to go to the graduation. So after they do their 12-week course, they graduate, they get a certificate and a diploma. And one of them, in Ecuador, parents were there because they themselves, because of their child, they watched them do the curriculum, they joined in and they got to graduate.
No way.
And so it just, again, that ripple effect that, and the gospel, that's what it does. When it changes someone's life, other people are impacted. And many of the teachers that teach it, they got a shoebox or went through the program themselves, and now they're wanting to be disciple makers. And so, yeah, there's so many, but I think that one always brings me to tears, because you think this one box impacted 20 people. This whole community was impacted. So it's really neat. Cool. But yeah, we don't want to just give a gift, and we don't just want to help somebody one time. We want them to hear the gospel and be changed forever. So it's exciting to see that.
Grand Canyon University, an affordable, private Christian university based in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, is one of the largest universities in the country. Praised for its culture of community and impact, GCU integrates the free market system, a welcoming Christian worldview, and free and open discourse into 369 academic programs with over 300 online. Join a nationwide community of learners redefining what online education looks like through academically rigorous, industry-driven programs that can spark bold ideas and prepare you for a future that matters. In addition to federal grants and aid, GCU's online students received nearly $161 million in institutional scholarships in 2024. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu/myoffer to see the scholarships you may qualify for. There's no way around it. When it comes to healthcare, people are really frustrated with how much it costs and how to pay for it. The usual ways we've been doing this have only gotten more expensive, more complicated, and honestly, just aggravating. And that's why Medishare is such a welcome relief. It's called healthcare sharing. It's different and it works. More than 1 million Americans are now doing this, and Medishare has been a great option for more than 30 years. So really, you could save thousands of dollars a year on your healthcare and be happy. Imagine that. If you've heard about it and you want to know more, there are 2 easy options. Go to Medishare.com/believe. That's Medishare.com/believe, or just grab your phone and send a text. You'll get the info, which could really help you and your family out. Text the word believe to 70246 to get the facts. Text believe to 70246 and you'll get the link. That's believe to 70246.
Did you know Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? New research from Glue and Barna shows that they're now attending church more often than older generations. That's a historic shift. And behind this discovery is Glue, spelled GLOO. Glue has a mission to serve those who serve, pastors, leaders, publishers, and more. And they do it by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI. That's high tech for a higher purpose. See the research yourself. Just text the word JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
On the ground.
That's super cool. And I think it's also great that like Samaritan's Purse isn't just like showing up, dropping off a bunch of stuff, claiming all the glory for themselves, and then like packing out and leaving. But the fact that you're partnering with these local churches, with these local ministries, empowering them to be able to do what they know their community needs, not just with the immediate needs that they need, but even providing them with, I'm assuming, all the tools to be able to provide them with the discipleship opportunities that they need. Like back at the church that I go to, my husband and I, for I think it was like 2 years or so, we were working with our global missions department, doing like their social media, creating content for them and everything. And I remember like growing up in that church and thinking like, okay, when I think of global missions department, I think of all of us going on a trip and going somewhere, building a church, digging a well, doing something, all of which is great, and then coming back home. But when I got to work with the organization and actually see beyond that like little 5% thing that I was able to be a part of in my youth growing up, and actually seeing the other 95% of what they were doing with empowering and partnering with the global church, with these local communities, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what it looks like to be the body, to actually partner with one another, hearing their needs and being able to meet them where they're at, and giving them the resources that they need to meet the people in their communities that they've grown up with, the cultural context that they grew up with, all of those things. So I think it's really admirable that is the approach that Samaritan's Purse also takes, is we want to partner with these communities so that these people who have grown up here, who understand all the nuances of this culture, this land, all the things going on, they're able to go and be the hands and feet of Jesus to these people that they grew up with, that they know. They're real neighbors, right? So I think that's just beautiful and a testament to y'all doing ministry in a way that I think is beautiful and right in many ways. But I want to shift gears and I want to talk a bit about the Christmas catalog, because I didn't even know that this was a thing that people could be a part of and give beyond just the shoebox. I think the shoebox is great, and Operation Christmas Child is awesome. I think that's a great way for families to learn, especially if I'm thinking about like you being a mom with 4 children, right? Teaching their kids about generosity and giving and what it looks like to be a good Samaritan. But can you share a bit about what the Christmas catalog is and all of the options that people have to give not just one time, but in a way that continues to give for those people in those communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is really exciting. I don't know if you can see it, but it's it's an actual catalog, like you would see a Lego catalog that my kids go through, but it has, I think, over 30 gifts where we highlight. Again, they're not small in their impact, but sometimes they're the smaller ones that maybe people don't know about. Because like you said, people know about Operation Christmas Child or in the news, U.S. disaster recovery and our medical missions, things like that are in the news. And like after COVID, we were in the news for the hospitals. But these are things that might not be in the news. People might not know about, but they're impact is great. And what I love about it, like you said, we have 4 kids. And so every year I show this to my kids, and this is what we give majority of our family, especially, my parents and his parents, they don't really want anything, need anything for Christmas. And so we give them a gift in honor of them. And it's neat because the kids personalize it every year. And it always surprises me what piques their interest. And I think this is why it's so neat, because it gives a description of what the gift does. It usually has a verse and kind of tells where the countries that we're in doing it. But it just opens your eyes to so many different things that we take for granted, right? Yeah. Like water, putting a well in a community, or feeding a hungry baby. I mean, just gifts that, again, we would never think that I would want that as a gift. But this is life-saving for these families. And again, we work with the local church. We have partners in those countries that work with them long-term. And some of these are very relational, which I know we'll talk about a couple in a minute. They're not a one-touch gift. And they build opportunity to share the gospel, disciple them, because it is such an ongoing gift. So you can go on here, you can sponsor, pick a gift for whoever you love. And sometimes I think they want to give a tangible gift. So like we'll say 1 year for my mother-in-law, I gave her the Honeybee Project. And so I gave her a jar of local honey too, and like a honey candle. That way she could have something tangible to open.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, just to kind of personalize it. But of course, the impact was way more important, and she cared about that. And it's fun, especially for my parents or some of my family that might not know about these projects. It gives them a chance to learn about them. There's one with Stand with Persecuted Christians. There's Build a House of Worship. I mean, there's just so many different things, and you can personalize it to what the person is passionate about.
I love that. And if y'all want to start checking it out even right now as you're tuning in and listening, if you're just on your phone, you can go to SamaritansPurse.org/beloved, and that'll take you directly to the catalog homepage, and you can look at everything. But I want to talk about a few that stood out to me. And you actually just mentioned one, the Honeybee Project. I was like, I didn't even realize that was something that could be a continual thing that pours into these families' lives. So can you explain a little bit about that? Because I think that's even a creative way for people to start thinking about gifts for other people, is that, we can give, but even the creativity you had with giving honey and giving a little candle. Like, I think that's a brilliant way to be able to meet the needs of other people and to be able to honor the person that maybe you're sponsoring the gift in the name of, or however you want to do it.
Yeah, and this is why I love that we work with the local church and we have staff on the ground that know the needs. They know, okay, what are these families needing? And so we're in several countries doing this Honeybee Project. But one we're in is in Iraq, and some of these communities were totally. When ISIS came through in 2014, they had family members killed. They lost their homes. Things were burned down, so they're living in huts. They don't have a way to make an income. Yeah. And even years ago, when I learned about this program, I thought it was about having an income, which it is. It does allow them to harvest honey, sell it in a market. They're able to have an income. But what it does is it gives them purpose. Again, when some of these communities have been either man-made or natural disaster, some of them were in Africa too, where maybe farmers aren't able to yield crops. And so whatever the reason is, people are down and low. They've lost their purpose. They've lost their hope. And here we bring in, and again, we don't just hand them this kit and say good luck. Our teams work with them for months. So we give them like a starter kit, basically, to harvest honey. And then we have people that work with them, teaching them how to do it, how to, plant flowers so that the bees can pollinate. And so again, we're teaching. It's a very relational project, which I love, because especially in Iraq or certain countries, it takes a long time to build relationships and to be able to spiritually have an impact on somebody. And so this gives that opportunity to build trust. And one family that's actually been working with the program. His name's Ibrahim. He's mute. He can't communicate. His wife is blind, and so they've been very marginalized, unable to have a sustainable income. And so we gave them the honey, and he has taken off. He loves it. It's given him purpose and passion. He's planted a lot of flowers and just gone above and beyond, and I think set the record for amount of honey that he harvested. But he and his family now have dignity. They have hope. The countenance has changed. And again, our teams have worked with them for a long time and are able to follow up with them. And so again, it brings discipleship opportunities, and their family is now thriving. They're making money. They're able to send their kids to school. And I think, again, it gets your whole family involved. And then another family in Kenya, he was a farmer that just was not able to produce enough, crops and provide for his family. He got involved. His name's David, and everything went well. His family's been helping, and so now he's been able to buy more land to farm on and he just, again, send his kids to school, be able to go to the doctor. And David has accepted Christ. And he has gone, because of the team members that have worked with him, he saw their faith and he watched and learned, and he's accepted Christ. And we have discipleship classes through that program as well. So it's just, again, you think it's something so simple, but it gives people purpose and dignity and allows their family to get involved. And then they are able to make an income. And so something that maybe they never knew about, never heard about, they now have become very passionate. And again, what's more important, and this is why I love these gifts, is it is an eternal gift. They are going to have the opportunity to hear about God's love and work with people there that will disciple and work with them long term. And so it's just a really huge life-changing gift that, again, we think is small. And it's here in the catalog for under $20. You can sponsor this program. And it's just neat. And I think, again, when you have kids, it's neat to pull them in, allow them to be a part of something, and then maybe they could do it long term. So it's just a ripple effect of a gift, but really fun and exciting. And I think it's neat to introduce people to that at Christmas time. Oh,
100%. And I love that that you highlighted specifically that, yes, that this gives them an opportunity to provide, to be able to make a living. And this is a greater opportunity for them to then hear the good news of the gospel. But I think the ideas of people need purpose and people need dignity. They need to feel dignified. Those are things that I think, especially here in the West, where it's we might have all these opportunities. We might have those things that because of either the country we live in or whatever, the rights that we have, down to the basic needs, the basic fundamental rights of just being a human being, maybe in the countries that we live in, we just have those things automatically, or it just comes easier to us to find those things. But even this past year, as I've just been studying scripture, specifically the Old Testament of all things, the purpose that God gives to a lot of what he does, I think of even Leviticus, just to get a little theological, we read books like that and it's what is the purpose of this thing? This is a bunch of laws of things I'm not supposed to do. But when you really look into it, it was to give dignity to people, to give dignity to the people who were being abused in certain systems, to these people who were the least or the last in society. And to be able to hold them up to a place where they had these rights, they had this dignity. And so even just hearing you say that word, I'm that just puts it in a whole other context for me, that this really gives people a sense of meaning and personhood, ownership with things that they can really take pride in and be proud of. And like you said, find purpose.
Grand Canyon University, an affordable, private, Christian university based in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, is one of the largest universities in the country. Praised for its culture of community and impact, GCU integrates the free market system, a welcoming Christian worldview, and free and open discourse into 369 academic programs with over 300 online. Join a nationwide community of learners redefining what online education looks like through academically rigorous, industry-driven programs that can spark bold ideas and prepare you for a future that matters. In addition to federal grants and aid, GCU's online students received nearly $161 million in institutional scholarships in 2024. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu/myoffer to see the scholarships you may qualify for. There's no way around it. When it comes to healthcare, people are really frustrated with how much it costs and how to pay for it. The usual ways we've been doing this have only gotten more expensive, more complicated, and honestly, just aggravating. And that's why Medishare is such a welcome relief. It's called healthcare sharing. It's different and it works. More than 1 million Americans are now doing this, and Medishare has been a great option for more than 30 years. So really, you could save thousands of dollars a year on your healthcare and be happy. Imagine that. If you've heard about it and you want to know more, there are 2 easy options. Go to Medishare.com/believe. That's Medishare.com/believe, or just grab your phone and send a text. You'll get the info, which could really help you and your family out. Text the word believe to 70246 to get the facts. Text believe to 70246 and you'll get the link. That's believe to 70246.
Did you know Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? New research from Glue and Barna shows that they're now attending church more often than older generations. That's a historic shift. And behind this discovery is Glue, spelled GLOO. Glue has a mission to serve those who serve, pastors, leaders, publishers, and more. And they do it by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI. That's high tech for a higher purpose. See the research yourself. Just text the word JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
Another project that y'all are doing that I want to highlight that, again, is not a super expensive ask if you are looking to give, is giving baby chicks. I was like, that's another just like fun, little, simple, small thing. So can you highlight that program and that way of giving?
My kids love choosing the gifts, the chicks or the goats, because they think I'd love a chick or a goat. And so we've done that too, and given little rubber figurines to my father-in-law when we did it. But yeah, the baby chicks is another project where it gives dignity, it gives value, and we give them, I think, 10 to 20 chicks to get them started. And again, same thing. We bring in a team to help train them how to, we have even veterinarians that help them, show them how to give them shots and keep them, healthy. And we will build coops if they need them. Some of them already have them. But again, this is another creative way to get, and we're in multiple countries doing this. But again, another one is Iraq. And similar, communities will find where husbands were killed and they don't have a way to provide. And one woman that we helped, her name is Rhonda, and her husband was killed. She had 3 kids and was so depressed. And what we find in a lot of these communities where man-made or natural disasters come through, there's depression and suicide and loss of hope. She had lost hope. And it's really hard to rebuild when everything's taken from you. And so our team, we have mental health, we have other ministries going on there. And so once she was able to get some help, and, we introduced the chicks to her. And this purpose, again, getting her kids involved, allowing them to take care of chicks, has changed her life. And now I think she went from like 10 chicks to like 80.
Oh my gosh.
She's now able to, and again, it's not just about eggs and having food. It's finding purpose and but part of it is that her kids can go to school now because they're able to make a living. But I think it's that dignity and that's that purpose and giving you something to do. I know my family, we just got a puppy. And as hard as it is and a lot of work, it brings us together, right? Yeah. Everybody's helping. Hey, I need you to take her out, or I need you. And I think there's something about relying on each other as a family. And so this project has been wonderful. It's in multiple countries, but like I said, I'm highlighting Iraq today because in that country, they've helped over 50 families with this program. And again, it's this ongoing long-term care. We're also in Cambodia, and there was a family there that, for whatever reason, they were farmers, and their tapioca product, they just weren't able to grow it. And so they were in debt, unable to make a living. And I think they actually tried raising chickens on their own, and it just wasn't going well because it is hard. And so Samaritan's Purse came along, brought them some more chickens, brought vets, showed them how to keep them healthy, how to sustain it, and they have now doubled their fleet and they're able to make a living, pay off their debts, and again, it's just that I think, and this is why I love these programs, because they do model spiritual health, right? Like when someone becomes a Christian, we don't want them to walk it alone. We want to help mentor them and disciple them and get them to where they're at a point where they're growing and thriving, and then they can help others. And so I think it's just a great discipleship program where we are walking alongside them, and they get to watch Christians too up close and learn about their faith.
Yeah.
And so this program is so exciting. It has done so much in these communities, and I love the ongoing sustainable work that it does.
Yeah, me too. I think that's super great that y'all are very intentional about that, about actually equipping them with these skills, because this is generational. This is generational skills that they can build and that they can grow. And it's not just a one-stop shop. We're just doing one thing and then heading out, but really creating a culture of sustainability and lasting impact for these communities that need it, that need the training, that need the equipping to do all those things. And it's even more beautiful when the fruit of that gets to be these families coming to find hope, purpose, and dignity, not just in the projects, but in Christ. Yeah. And so I'm wondering, even for you, now that you've been a part of this and doing the podcast and being able to see all these things up close and personal, how has the work of Samaritan's Purse, or even just the direct impacts that you've been able to be a part of and seen, how has it grown or tested or refined your faith? Like, what has it looked like for you being a part of this organization spiritually, to see what's going on in the world, but also being able to be a bringer of hope, a contributor of being the hands and feet of Jesus? What's that done for your faith personally?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I pinch myself, and I'm so thankful that I get to do what I do, and I get to talk to our partners and our staff around the world. And again, as you said, see these projects up close. Yeah. And I think one that's Hurricane Helene hit our community last year, and I think that is one that we've gotten to see again and again. I've gotten to go back to families and see, because sometimes, we see them in the aftermath of the disaster, and I don't get to see the long term, but I just got to go see a family that we were able to rebuild their home because it was completely lost. And again, just to see the growth and the ways that even this family, as they waited for their house to be built, they were studying Nehemiah and just the rebuild spiritually that we need to do in our lives. And it just, they impacted me. I think we're trying to help them, but they are changing me. And I think just to see what hopelessness looks like, but how Jesus, he is the hope, and that's why we don't want to just help them physically, because, Jesus says, with the woman at the well, this water you will need again tomorrow, but the water I give is everlasting. And so I think I love that we do help them physically, get them on their feet, but it's the spiritual help and encouragement and hope that we want to give them. And I cannot imagine doing this life without Jesus. And so when we get to introduce that to Jesus to people in the midst of their storm, it is just a joy and a privilege.
I love that.
Changes my faith every day. Every time I get to go to work and hear these stories, I just come home to the kids, listen to this, because again, sometimes we have no idea what it's like to lose everything. And so when you meet somebody that does, it changes you.
100%. I especially, what was it, a year or two ago, I got to go to the Lausanne Congress, the 4th Lausanne Congress that happened in South Korea, which was started by Billy Graham and John Stott, right? Back in the 70s in Switzerland. And being able to be around such a global representation of the church, like over 200 nations represented, and to get to know these people, I'm like, you are my brothers and sisters in Christ, and you are doing the work. Like, you are doing the work of a pastor. You are doing the work of an evangelist. You are doing the work that Christ calls us to do, right? And to then come back to kind of like what is comfortable back here, back home in the States, to kind of just like get in the church routine of things. I just really want anyone who is listening to this episode today, whether you're watching, whether you're just tuning into the audio, to realize that we have brothers and sisters who are not even yet part of the family, who have not yet been grafted in, but something as simple as donating bees as giving baby chicks, or to the millions of other opportunities that are listed in the catalog. Some like as little as just a couple of dollars, like a handful of change, really. Or even the bigger gifts if you feel called and led and you're blessed to give those things. I just want you to know that, like, God has given me a conviction over the past 2 years to really take my vision from just where I'm at in my community, which matters and which is important, but to look at the global church and to see what's going on in the other 95% of the world, and asking God, what do you want me to do? Because we are called to bring the gospel and be impactful to our communities, to our nations that we all are directly a part of, but to bring the gospel to the ends of the earth. And you might not be able to go to the ends of the earth, but maybe what you would have spent on a cup of coffee can, and it can actually like make a way bigger impact that you'll only know about when you're at the pearly gates and you see them there too. And it's like, wow, look at what God really did. And so I want y'all to just be prayerful, all of you who are listening today, and to consider giving. Like, I'm doing it. I already am packing my box right now for my church with Operation Christmas Child. I plan on giving through the catalog. My husband and I are looking through our finances right now, seeing what we can give for that. But I want to just encourage you all to check that out. Again, it's SamaritansPurse.org/beloved. Just go to that. You can donate. You can click a specific thing and learn about it and see where that gift will go. But do you have any last things that you even want to add to that, Christy, just as our call to action for people this holiday season?
Yeah, I think I love what you said, and it's so true. What Jesus, remember when he told his disciples, I don't remember who he was telling, but to go to Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth, right? So we are to love those around us. I mean, that is important. If we can't love the people around us, we can't go serve overseas. But I think, yes, this is good because you can open your eyes and you can go do missions by sitting at your kitchen table with your people. And so that's why I love giving these gifts, because it introduces others to needs around the world. Because like you said, we are to love who we're around. That's our ministry and our sphere of influence. But I do love hearing from our churches, and I love how you said that. And that's why I love working with partners from all over the world, because what they're dealing with is so different from what I'm dealing with. And so it encourages my faith. And I think of Galatians 6:9 when I think of some of our partners, do not grow weary in doing good. You will reap a harvest. And I think some of these countries that they work in, it takes a lot longer to build relationships and to share the gospel. It is a little easier here in the U.S., even though I think we don't do it very often, and it is getting more hostile here too. But we live in a Christian nation, and so people, I think, often know, but those that are not in those nations. Anyway, so I'm digressing, but I think it is good for me to open my eyes and realize what our partners are facing around the world, and it gives me encouragement to do better with what I've been given. But yes, it is exciting to be able to bring your people into the needs around the world and to open your eyes. And again, there's scripture in this catalog, so it can help you even pray and read God's word in a different way by hearing about what some of these challenges people are facing. But I think this Christmas season, it always helps me to lift my eyes and get out of my, what I'm dealing with. And it helps my perspective change and face the holidays in a different way, because the reason we're celebrating is the gift of Jesus coming to earth and the gospel. So I need to share that first and foremost before I give somebody a tangible gift.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Again, SamaritansPurse.org/beloved. You can check out the catalog there. I also want to encourage you to check out Christy's podcast, the On the Ground podcast. Do you have any cool episodes that are dropping soon? Anything that you're excited for listeners to tune into?
I'm sure you feel this way, but whatever episode I just did becomes my favorite episode. Yeah. But we have a lot that are coming out. We have a Veterans Day one coming up about a retired general that helped us in our helicopter response. So it's just, we take you literally, every episode is so different and introduces you to different projects that we're doing. So SamaritansPurse.org/listen if you want to hear more about the podcast and see what we do. But we have Children's Heart Project. I mean, we spotlight different things every week, and it's really exciting. So I encourage you to listen.
Yeah. I'll link that in the show notes for you guys so you can check out both of those links so you can give and even see what and hear what Samaritan's Purse is up to, because it's more than just maybe what you've always heard it to be. They're doing so much all the time, all corners of the world. It's incredible. Well, thank you, Christy, for taking the time to be here on the podcast, for just sharing more about Samaritan's Purse with everyone who is tuning in, whether it was their first time hearing about it or whether they've been a giver but didn't even realize like what more they could be a part of. And to those of you who did listen, again, I just want to encourage you to be prayerful about it. I don't want you to feel like this episode in any way is trying to manipulate or no, genuinely, like, I want us to be givers and to actually make a kingdom impact in ways that are creative, are ways that we have never considered before. And I think that this is a beautiful, beautiful project to be a part of. When I heard about it, I was like, I want to talk about this on my podcast. So truthfully, this is my heart, and I'm praying that God would even stir up one person who's listening today to join me in that, to join me in giving and making a global impact this holiday season. And I'm sure that some of y'all who are tuning in from all over the world are like, yeah, this is happening in my community right now. Go let them know. Go let them know that you heard this episode and that you heard all about what they're up to in your community, if that's taking place in your community. I think that would be super cool for them to hear that they're hearing and their message and their work is being spread to listeners all over the world. But until next week, y'all know I drop episodes every single week. Subscribe and listen and follow and do all the things if you're not already, so that you can get notified for next week's episode. But until then, I love you guys. Be generous givers. And I pray that you have an amazing and happy holiday season. Love you guys. Bye. For more life-giving, faith-based podcasts just like this one, check out lifeaudio.com, a proud partner of the Bought and Beloved podcast.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love, because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at thrivent.com.
What does faith look like when it meets real-world need? Christy Graham, host of On the Ground podcast with Samaritan's Purse, has seen it firsthand. Since launching the podcast in 2019, Christy has traveled the globe, visiting missionary doctors in Kenya, encouraging military couples in Alaska, and celebrating new homes with families rebuilding after disasters. Everywhere she goes, she witnesses God's faithfulness through the work of Samaritan's Purse. Now, Christy is sharing those experiences in a special series of conversations across the Life Audio Network, appearing on Bought and Beloved, Christian Parent Crazy World, Praying Christian Women, and That's Just What I Needed. In each interview, you'll hear inspiring stories, heartfelt reflections, and a reminder of how God is at work all around us. Check out these interviews on one of these Life Audio podcasts today.